Easy explained Zen Buddhist philosophy, early Zen thought. Going to start here by looking at some passages from Chan Buddhist Patriarch Hui Neng, and there you can see the years of his life. And at this point, we are still referring to this school of thought as Chan Buddhism, right? We have not fully become Zen. We're not calling it Zen yet. So let's look at our first passage from Hui Neng here. He says, "The truth is to be lived. It is not to be merely pronounced with the mouth. There is nothing to argue about in this teaching. Any arguing is sure to go against the intent of it. Doctrines given up to argumentation lead themselves only to the endless cycle of birth and death." Let's look at the next passage from Hui Neng. He says, "There is nothing true anywhere, for the truth is nowhere to be found. If you say you see the truth, the seeing is not the true one. When the truth is left to itself, there is nothing false in it, for it is the mind itself. When the mind in itself is not liberated from the false, there is nothing true. Nowhere is the truth to be found." So here we're seeing this early phase of the Zen paradox being set up, where you cannot go out there and find the truth. You can't see it. You can't say it. You can't talk about it. Right? It's just it is. It is the mind itself. If you're saying that you find true or the truth, you're false. You're wrong. Right? You cannot go out there and find it. You just have to live it. Let's move on. There's going to be some clarifying points made by some Zen masters here, some Zen monks. So you're going to move into Zen Monk Shih-t'ou. There's his years as well. Shih-t'ou says, "What is the ultimate teaching of the Buddha? You won't understand it until you have it." And connect this back to Hui Neng. You can never really have it, right? As soon as you think you have it, you don't. That's a falsity. So really what the understanding here is that you can't understand it, and understanding that you don't understand it is having it, right? It's a paradox. So let's move on to Zen Master Te-shan. Again, there are years. Te-shan says, "Only when you have no thing in your mind, not nothing, but no thing, and no mind in things, are you vacant and spiritual, empty and marvelous." Those are two great phrases there, vacant and spiritual, right? You're on the spiritual journey, the spiritual quest. The goal here is to become vacant. Stop bringing things in. We need to get them out. We need to let them go. Same thing with being empty and marvelous, right? That is the virtue here, is to empty yourself. That is the marvel. And finally, we're going to look at Matsuo Basho here. You've probably heard of Basho for their haiku poetry, very well known for the haiku poetry. He was also an essayist as well. So let's look at Empty Chestnut by Basho. Quote from there. Basho says, "What is important is to keep our mind high in the world of true understanding, and returning to the world of our daily experience, to seek therein the truth of beauty. No matter what we may be doing at a given moment, we must not forget that it has a bearing upon our everlasting self," which is poetry, making the poetry connect there. Great passage from Basho, and even the title of this essay being called Empty Chestnut. Very Zen, in a sense. And let's move on to another essay, a few years later, by Basho. It's The Records of a Travel-Worn Satchel. Basho says, "Indeed, all who have achieved real excellence in any art possess one thing in common, that is a mind to obey nature, to be one with nature throughout the 4 seasons of the year." This actually connects back to Taoism. Right here we see some Taoist influence of that flow of water and doing less and just letting things be very naturally. And to wrap things up here for some early Zen thoughts, last one from Basho, we have the first lesson for the artist is, therefore, to learn how to overcome such barbarism and animality, to follow nature, to be one with nature. And this is our calling here with Zen. It's to flow, it's to let things go, it's to be at peace, it's to be in the moment. That is very Zen. So these are some early thoughts going back to when it was still called Chan Buddhism, and then we're getting up into the 1600s here with Basho, some of his essays that accompanied his haiku poetry. So we're now primed to look at the 3 pillars of Zen pretty properly. And that'll be next time, but for now, I hope this helps.